When I send my clients to go and get x-rays and MRIs and other exams, I get the results either on my phone or the computer. So I've just received another set of results from a client who's 51, she's been very active, she loves life, but she has a massive disc hernia in her low back. Now what I wanted to pass on to you guys is please don't leave it till tomorrow to think about how you're going to look after your spine. Too many of us think, well, I feel good today, I don't have pain, I'll worry about it tomorrow. But what I'm seeing through 30 years of my work, working with problems, you're not probably going to see that well there, but that's what I'm seeing on the phone, a very big disc hernia. I'm dealing with this almost daily. Our lives are more sedentary now than ever. Too many people pass their lives without doing exercise. We might have accidents and falls when we're younger that we never compensate for. There's so many causes of dysfunction of the spine. The thing is, when this occurs, we don't always feel pain. And if we do, that pain often goes. So we think, it's like the flu. The flu's gone, I got over that because my immune system's strong and it beat that virus or infection. However, biomechanical dysfunctions of the spine that occur during our lives, if they bring pain on, they're usually doing that at a moment where there's the straw that breaks the camel's back, okay, the last thing that happens that actually pushes that to a symptomatic state, okay, where our body's actually making us aware of it. But before that, that level of dysfunction is at a certain point where we may not know about it. Okay, I often compare this to, let's say we had a glass of water, and in that glass of water, well, we'll actually call this an inflammatory load. But imagine it's something like a glass of water where the water, when it's right near the top, that will signify to us the load, the inflammatory load in our body. Now, it doesn't take much for that water to spill over. At that point, we know, because that turns into symptoms and pain and other signals in our body. But then let's imagine that water comes down a little bit just below that border at the top of the glass. We won't know. But when we look at what actually contributes to that inflammatory load, we have to consider that it's not only physical causes, biomechanical ones, for example, sitting incorrectly, sitting for too long, a mattress is too soft, the wrong pillow, sleeping face down maybe for some people, lifting something incorrectly, working in the wrong position, all of these things, falls, accidents in the past. So that's the physical dysfunction of the spine. That can be there, but if the other influences such as the emotional ones, stress-related, sleep-related, or chemical ones that come from diet, the amount of toxins we may have, if our food's inflammatory, when they all combine, they can actually get that load way up to a symptomatic state. But if they're lower, then that dysfunction can be there for a very long time, and we can have a problem like a disc degeneration occurring without knowing. I know that took a long time to explain to you, but what I wanted to do is have this really clear to you that too many people wait to that glass that's almost overflowing with inflammation to really look at it and go, okay, I'll treat that. But they have to realize also that it doesn't take much work or much of a change to get that inflammatory load down a little bit to the point where it's not symptomatic. If that's happening with you, but you do have dysfunction on a spinal segmental level, then that disc is possibly and probably degenerating without you knowing about it. Okay? I've seen hundreds or thousands of patients in my 30-year career have their lives extremely affected by this sort of problem. They're fine 1 minute, supposedly, and then the next minute, they're just stopped in their tracks. They might love to surf, to run, to play golf, tennis, you name it, whatever sport, be out in nature, and they might be pain-free 1 minute, but because they're leaving their care to tomorrow and not even knowing the importance of care, that when they're stopped in their tracks, they can't do those things. Some will never be able to do them again. Some will find people or professionals that will help them deal with it, okay, so they can do it, but they might be in a certain degree of pain or limitation to a certain point. So there's a gamut of possibilities there. Some will get on top of the problem, they'll use it as a warning, and they'll go to the root cause of it. I guess the lesson today that I'm trying to pass on to you guys is that we have responsibility to learn about our own health. In this case, our spinal health. We need to learn what compromises normal function in our spine, what promotes good function, okay? We need to learn about all aspects of spinal health that should have been taught to us when we were younger. When you think about it, the dentist did an amazing job because most of us brush our teeth 2 to 3 times a day. And most of us will finish our lives with our teeth intact, which is very different to what was the case before the Dental Association was formed in each country to teach people how to care for their teeth. We need to develop this type of care around our spine. Okay, and please take it from me, I've worked with this for decades now. And there's nothing sadder than seeing someone who has all of their priorities in life, whether it be interacting with their loved ones, okay, their kids, their grandchildren, going out, dancing, socialising, going to the theatre and sitting down, and not being able to do these things due to a low back problem. Okay? And then you can see how this can modify someone's life to the point where they're relying on medication or anti-inflammatory or painkillers to be able to just keep it under control. So you can imagine what sort of side effects happen with those choices with time, as opposed to going to the root cause early and learning how to look after it. Okay? We've also got to imagine that, hey, if I'm in pain and I can't work and I need to work, what's that look like? Okay? What about sleep? We need to sleep. That's our most important nutrient. Too many of us have sleep compromised by pain. And if we look at and accept the fact that most spinal pain is avoidable, okay, we've either had an acute problem occur, we can relate it to an accident or a fall, we know our body's going to pass through a healing process, or if we do feel pain, and this is due to a chronic set of situations, it's up to us to rectify that. Taking medication to forget about it will never help us focus on the root cause. And today we've got more information around than ever. There's no lack of great exercises and videos on YouTube from all sorts of professionals, from personal trainers to physios to chiros. Okay? There's dietary information. It's at our fingertips. It just takes us to go deeper and take the time to do that. And as I always say, we can wait for any disease or pathological process to occur and pay for that. Okay? Or we can actually invest in our health today, which will obviously avoid any disease or illness later on. And if I say any, well, let's say the ones that we can control. Okay, so that's an investment. We need to invest financially sometimes, okay, by going to a gym, by certain supplements maybe, by investing in a course online. But we also need to invest time, okay, the time required to learn. This is information that we're probably decades behind on anyway, okay, but learning it, the sooner the better, okay. Now, just to finish with this today, please imagine all those things that I've mentioned and add more to your particular situation. What are your priorities? What makes you happy? What gives you purpose? Okay? Imagine how they'd been 5, 10, 15, 20 years if a spinal problem you have today is not corrected. What's that look like? How do you want to be living your future? And if you recognize that what's going on, whether you feel it or not, could affect your future, please take the time to find a good professional to help you rectify it. Someone who's going to focus on the restoration of biomechanical function. Okay? Please take the time to learn. Okay? Now, I've mentioned other courses online. I have my Back in Action course online. I have my book, The Secret of the Healthy Spine, and I'm always accessible. If you've got questions, please reach out. I answer everybody, and I'll do my best to help. I wish you all the best on your journey.